Docket number 005, case file, Blumhouse, Wolfman, and the new error in terror. I am Incarnate, your Inquisitor General of the Mind's Eye, welcoming you back to the Mind's Eye Inquisition on tap for tonight is a news network kicking up dirt and calling it smoke for the fire. In a desperate pitch for relevancy, so, as your lead inspector on this case, if you've heard it through the grapevine, it's my job to trim the hedges. If you haven't heard that Blumhouse Productions is T-minus 1 day to the release of their second try to adapt a Universal monster with the Wolfman, that's because no one cares, and their marketing sucks. Speaking of twice up at bat, this is my second try to make this video because the audio on the first time up wasn't up to snuff and my video got copyrighted to hell, but you can't get rid of me that easily. So we're going to listen to the audio of this behind the scenes clip instead of watching the video as well. Believe me, I was all too eager to leave this dud in the making to wallow in its own irrelevancy. But boys and girls, let's take a listen to this latest behind the scenes highlight that the House of Blum has put together for our viewing displeasure, let's call it. So, to promote the Wolfman reboot out tomorrow, here is Leigh Whannell and the new era in terror.
Daddy? Daddy? Are we gonna die?
No. It's my job to protect you.
Cut. Very nice.
Yeah, let's cut it right there. You have to understand that like this studio, the director, and just this incessant need to reboot these Universal classics. I mean, they had one, how can I put it? One glorified success, which, I mean, in hindsight, after so many years have passed since the last attempt was made, there's just been nothing that's come of it, which I believe, call me crazy, and I will get into this a little later, that, to me, that brings the whole shebang into question, because if there's just been nothing that's come out of this, what was alleged to be a bona fide success, why have they gone so long, so far, without returning to this money printing machine? Let's keep listening.
When I was trying to come up with a new angle for the Wolfman story, I thought about werewolf movies, and I knew I wanted to give audiences something new to experience.
Okay. First and foremost, how big of an inferiority complex must you suffer from when your own name is fitted in the title of this making of featurette about a movie that ain't about you? Now, you just heard that, well, actually, no, let's take more of a listen.
A Wolfman story is about infection and transformation. So after the last few years of turmoil that the world has been in, the themes of isolation and dread and anxiety were naturally coming out in the script.
Okay, so he wants to do something new, but as you can see, as the trailers have shown, and this clip is demonstrating for us, a family drama, really? That's what you're bringing that's new. Dude, in 2024, in the summer, we just had a movie about a family drama in a werewolf film with Kit Harington from Game of Thrones. So, if this movie's director thinks he's breaking new ground, you know nothing, Jon Snow. Let's continue.
Hello? We were attacked by some kind of animal, and I think my husband was infected by it.
Again, like, I'll get into a little later how redundant this plot thread, this pitch is, but breaking new ground, I highly doubt that.
This film is my tribute to the 80s movies I loved growing up.
Now, what did he start off with saying, and what is he saying now? I want to do something new, but I want to homage the 80s greatest hits. You know, you'd be hard-pressed to find a bigger 80s fan than me when it comes to horror. But honestly, what exactly about this movie, if you've seen the trailers, if you take a gander at this behind-the-scenes video, like, what about this movie is evocative of that decade? Furthermore, how shallow and pandering is this director that A, he just references the same movies that we all love, so there's nothing resembling nuance, even though that's what he's promising. And moreover, B, what exactly are you bringing to this picture, this genre? Like, if that's what you're promising, you're gonna have to deliver on that. It can't just be a bunch of hype. And believe me, oh boy, is this movie lacking that.
Daddy.
Movies like John Carpenter's The Thing, David Cronenberg's The Fly.
Yeah, keep going.
The world in which we sort of grounded this story in itself stands apart.
Can you understand me?
The world stands apart. Actually, it's a bunch of jump scares in a house, which is stock standard, a stock standard setting for everything Blumhouse, from Paranormal Activity to the first Purge Regurge movie. So nice try. Honestly, like, keep track of how many just empty words that they are espousing. No, this is eerie.
He has such an atmosphere in his directing.
Seeing this thing come running in is what will scare the audience. Okay. He has a really keen eye for cinematography and sound. I just wanted it to be an oral assault.
Again, the contradictions here. Oral assault. You just heard one of the actresses talking about atmosphere, and then the director immediately just does away with that and speaks about an oral assault. So jump scares, gotcha. I swear, like, the lost art of suspense in horror is something truly tragic here. And it speaks to how much of a wet behind the ears rank amateur director Leigh Whannell is, that he doesn't understand how to build tension. I don't think he sees that as a necessity. I don't think he can wrap his pea brain around how silence is golden. Did I mention that the first horror movie that he was ever in by the name of Saw came out in 2004, meaning that this poser's been in showbiz for 2 decades? Just thought I'd mention all the cinematic acumen he's collected in the last 20 years. Now, let's finish this up, and then we'll get to my thoughts, because believe me, I'm just getting started.
Run. I wanted to lean into something horrific. Run. I wanted to lean into something horrific, something visceral. You can really do someone's subconscious with a horror film.
Blah, blah.
We do that with this movie.
Please, Daddy, it's me.
That's the way it needs to be done.
Yeah. So,
Daddy, is that you?
I mean, after all of that, I gotta ask, I mean, honestly, after such a rousing advertisement of baseless hype, whoever could provide scathing commentary on such a featurette? Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute.
Now, come on!
Let me handle this, bitch.
Ah, yes. Time for me to approach the bench. Okay. Right out of the gate, we come to the moment of truth and the star of the show. Honestly, look at what's on the same thumbnail that I used for this video. I mean, oof. Look at that design and tell me that it doesn't look like some over-the-hill old geezer with 3 teeth to his name. I mean, seriously, look at this.
Y'all laughed at me. Y'all laughed at me. Well, who's laughing now? Y'all laughing.
Dude, is this for serious? Are you for serious with this? Now, far be it from me to toot my own horn. I usually leave that kind of work to all of you fine folks, my loyal subjects. But your boy really has outdone himself this time. I mean, guys, even if you're one of the 3 people who's actually looking forward to this, seriously, look at this abomination, man. My God, like, are they even trying with this? It doesn't look like the love child between Gollum and Gandalf? Dear God, you talk about an eyesore. I mean, look, I think it's plain to see. Blumhouse don't know how to werewolf. They should have prioritized creature features over slashers and paraboredom activity. That way, they would at least have the makeup department up to snuff. You want a quick tally? All right, let's look at their roster of recent films or movies that they're known for. Happy Death Day, comedic mass killer with a knife. The movie Hush, stalker with a blade. That freaky movie with Vince Vaughn, body swap slasher. The Gallows, axe-wielding maniac in a theater. The Purge, which is basically an entire army of slashers. Dude. And mind you, these ain't even including their cash grab remakes of Black Christmas, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, and the odious Halloween trilogy. But not only do they have no experience to speak of, no experience at all with creature features, get this, trip on this, they're aiming to tackle the mother of all practical effects monsters. Do you even realize that, unlike virtually every other movie monster, that you not only have the Herculean task of getting the look of the werewolf right, but your burden is only compounded by the fact that this movie monster comes hardwired with the expectation of quality transformation effects. I mean, really process that. Raise of hands for who thinks that Blumhouse is up for this task. I'll wait. I mean, when you step into the werewolf arena, you're bringing your A game or bust. But because Blumhouse have gorged themselves on paint-by-numbers swill like slashers and found footage, this studio can't even tell compelling stories with engaging characters. I'm supposed to believe that they got the means to deliver the goods, not just with a creature feature film, let alone one that pays homage to the Universal classics?
Bitch, please! First we gonna rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it pop, don't let it go! X gon' give it to ya.
And honestly, I'll be the first one to tell you. Matter of fact, I'll let Gladiator do it.
This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it.
You know what? Just because I'm a dick, hold on.
This is not it. 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 This is
all right, enough fun. Back to the show. But come on, man. Really look at this crap. Who the hell? Oh my God. And you know that they're desperate when, I believe it was, if not this past weekend, the weekend before, the studio itself leaked the transformation of the monster on YouTube or whatever. It's like, why would you do that? Like, seriously, you have that little confidence, and mind you, the transformation, dude, it's nothing to write home about. Oh my God, he grows claws and there's hair, and there's bladder effects on the face. And then you have the Leigh Whannell, the director, and the filmmakers patting themselves on the back that they're using practical effects. Dude, the use of practical effects does not automatically mean that you have a great monster. Like, how are you this stupid? Okay, you have practical effects, but your design sucks, and most likely, guaranteed, your story is going to be nothing to write home about. And honestly, I haven't seen a Lycan this uninspired since Resident Evil Village. And mind you, they had 3 times at bat with different werewolves that they made, and they all sucked. Look, let me draw an analogy over why this movie is destined to fail. The studio of Blumhouse absolutely does not learn their lessons when they accidentally make any kind of money or buzz with their movies. Because their movies are based on what they are embarrassed to call a B movie, they keep calling it a micro budget film, like very clever marketing there. Whenever they trip over themselves and accidentally land on a success, or they just remake something with name brand recognition, they absolutely cannot help themselves and need to fast track a sequel or a franchise or a trilogy. Don't know what I'm talking about? Okay. So the Halloween 2018 film came out, right? And it was no great shakes. If you liked the 2018 movie, yeah, of course you did, because you just got a regurgitation of the original 1978 movie. Furthermore, they managed to make one film that was a box office triumph, okay? And then they announced that it's going to be a trilogy based off of the success of one film. Mind you, they did precisely nothing to set up the next installment, let alone a trilogy. So then what happened? Oh, that's right. Halloween Kills came out and people hated it. It made less money than the first film. And then by the time of Halloween Ends, oh my God, dude, reaching for straws doesn't even begin to describe what it is that their downward spiral looked like. So they wanted a trilogy, but did precious little, if not nothing, to establish that, to lay the groundwork for that. They just announced a trilogy, so you're just gonna get a bunch of Halloween movies, which are like barely connected, to the point that at the end of the second one, Laurie Strode's daughter gets killed by Michael. It's a last shot, and that's not even like, you would think that would be the automatic follow-up in the next movie, and it isn't. So if that's not stupid enough, oh boy, because of despite the critical downturn, the downward spiral of the next 2 Halloween movies, they didn't care because those movies made bank. So what did they do? Did they go back to the drawing board and learn their lessons? Oh no, they gifted themselves not just another horror trilogy, but one based off what is arguably the greatest horror property, greatest horror film of all time, which is The Exorcist. But hold on, it gets better. Now they were going to announce this was going to be a trilogy even before the first film came out. And has the same director as the Halloween trilogy, made by the same studio. And gee, what happened? Oh, that's right, we got The Exorcist Believer, and that movie, oh my God, I was so happy that movie failed. I haven't been as happy that a movie like that failed because it absolutely deserved to. I have not been that happy since the commercial and critical failures of Dracula Untold and the 2017 Mummy. Good for them. They didn't learn any lessons. They didn't go back to the drawing board and figure out why it is that the Halloween trilogy is it's a failure. You don't get to ride off the success of one film, especially considering that one film is overrated as hell, and it's an in-universe ripoff of the first movie. So I say all that to say this, to set the table over how it is that this studio thinks they don't learn their lessons, and they just keep, because they think they accidentally make money with the success of the first film in whatever fad they're in. The same exact thing is due to happen with the Wolfman. What do I mean? Well, just like The Exorcist Believer had the same director, the same producer even, and obviously the same studio as the Halloween trilogy, well, guess what? The Invisible Man has the same director, studio, and producer as the Wolfman. And boy, howdy, have they been touting. It's funny to me how the Invisible Man of 2020, I think, 2020, is like such this rousing success, except keep a couple things in mind. Okay, this was like such a rousing success. So why is it that you only talk about how much money it made? Like, you never talk about the characters, you never talk about the story, mind you, it's an Invisible Man. Isn't that like perfect for, oh my God, wouldn't the premise lend itself to people describing the tension and the suspense, that eerie feeling of always being watched? You get none of that. Nobody talks about that. People barely remember this movie came out. It had no impact. Did it make a lot of money? Yeah, sure it did. But so what? What was the impact? What was the legacy of it? You know, I continue to find myself pointing to what is rapidly becoming the gold standard of horror hype, which is the recent Nosferatu movie. People were, and look, did I like the movie? Yes. Was it good? Yes. Was it great? No. But there was certainly hype going into it. Channels that I watch, like the Critical Drinker, if I'm not mistaken, but definitely Midnight's Edge. Absolutely Midnight's Edge. Nerdrotic as well, if I'm not mistaken. They were talking about their genuine intrigue with this film. The trailers were really good, especially the first one. And early test screeners, the reviews were raving about this movie. Hell, look at the excitement and positive reception to the recent 28 Years Later trailer. 14 million views. Second most viewed horror trailer ever, behind It 2019. There is less than zero hype when it comes to Blumhouse's Wolfman, and it comes out tomorrow. Dude, really think about that. The movie Werewolves, which came out earlier last month, that I saw and did a preview reaction videos on, had more hype for an indie studio than this has as a Blumhouse second crack at bat with the Universal monsters. And arguably the most egregious thing to me is that this is a Wolfman movie. There's nothing about it that makes it feel like the Wolfman movie. You know what I mean? Like the definitive lycanthrope film. But let's be honest, Blumhouse ain't in the business of greatness. No. They don't make classics. Hell, they don't even make film experiences. They concern themselves with product and nothing else. And the 2020 Invisible Man, which, I mean, not only is it overrated, dude, it's a Hollow Man remake or ripoff, I guess. And you know for a fact that that movie is overrated because nobody wants to compare it to that movie, which it has much more in common with. I mean, the 2020 ripoff, it was just a fluke, both for the studio and the indie approach to gothic classics, and especially a lucky break for its no-talent director. I mean, as I just said, not only was the 2020 feminist love letter a ripoff of Hollow Man, Leigh Whannell's third attempt up at bat. It was Leigh Whannell's third attempt up at bat as a director. But what has this little pube directed in the 4 years since? A whole bunch of nothing. That's what. I mean, you're telling me this hack of a filmmaker finally hit it big and punched his golden ticket just to have nothing to show for it upon release? Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Folks, like, honestly, what more evidence do I need that the Invisible Man's exaggerated quality, let alone the aptitude of the soy boy that filmed this dreck. Every other director that has worked for Blumhouse went on to make some kind of name for themselves outside that leper colony of a studio. Think that I'm lying? Let me rattle off a couple names for you. James Wan. He went on to direct The Conjuring 1 and 2. Scott Derrickson. He went on to direct Marvel's Doctor Strange. Jordan Peele, overhyped director of the equally overvalued Nope and Us. All these directors got their start working with Blumhouse. All these films were made outside of the studio. Oh, but not little Leigh Whannell. For you see, he never strays too far from his sugar daddy. Everyone else went on to greener pastures, literally. But little Leigh was never too far from the teat of his daddy.
There you go. There you go. Eat up, Stephen. You're the weakest. There you go.
Okay, with that disturbing image out of the way. Yeah, that's you, my poor little power bottom. The dead month of January has always been considered something. It's a dumping ground month for films. I mean, and believe me, Blumhouse got away with their stupid Methrigan movie, the Killer Doll film from 2-3 years back. And I mean, hell, I'm even waiting for that sequel to come out so it can flop, so I can dunk on how overestimated the original was. A movie that I would remind you that no one has even talked about in the near 2 years since its release. Nah, Blumhouse thinks it's clever. They think they're cute with releasing films in the dead months of the year, because to them, dumping ground months like January equal no competition. Well, what happens when your film is exposed as the dumpster fire it was all along? Look, I started this video talking about just how I bust a gut and laugh in the face of this film, if for no other reason than their regurgitated, what's the word I'm looking for? Not even trope, but plot device of, you know, reframing the werewolf as a threat to a family dynamic. Dude, if you want to go that route, do you even realize that, like, dating back to the 80s, which clearly Leigh Whannell wants to emulate, do you even realize that we have, like, Stephen King's Silver Bullet? So this premise, this idea of the family dynamic, a werewolf intervening with a family dynamic, let alone the film A Beast Within, I think it's called, that I mentioned at the top of this stream, let alone that coming out in the summer of 2024. Silver Bullet came out in the 80s. Like, this is not a new premise. But if you want to see a werewolf type of creature that is involved or interferes with a family dynamic, watch 2021's Antlers. There's your family dynamic, and it's actually interesting. Hell, watch 2023 Evil Dead Rise. You get your family dynamic plus the pandemic horror that Leigh Whannell is striving for. I've done a watch party for the former, an incoming watch party for the latter, and movie reviews on both of those films that I just named. As for Blumhouse's Wolfman, this basic bitch ain't reinventing a damn thing. So, now's the point in time where I discuss what I have on the scene for you fine folks, as far as the Greater Mind's Eye channel. Okay, so let me take a look, just because I have had a lot of content that I've released recently. So I do live streams of survival horror games, because I like to delve into horror films as well as scary games. So I I started off my winter stream warning, which is my winter gaming event of winter themed horror games. I did live streams of Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, rounds 1 through 3. I'm going to be doing one more to end off that particular gameplay. I'm going to be kicking off month number 2 soon with The Thing Remaster, so be on the lookout for that. I did a overcast of the, what was it? The Forever Winter. They came out with a December update, so I just did a reaction video to that trailer. I've done a werewolves. I know, not a clever title. A December horror film called Werewolves came out last month. I did a precaution and an aftershock. So that's just my preview of a movie that I'm going to watch before I head out to the movie. And the aftershock is my immediate reaction video once I get back from the theater. I've done watch parties for Beetlejuice. I have done watch parties for The Mean One, which was my own. Despite all the watch parties that I had for December, The Mean One was the only winter-themed horror film. It's basically a B-movie slasher of the Grinch, highly recommended. I did a precaution and aftershock for the 2024 Nosferatu. I did a watch party of the original Nosferatu. The 1922 version, and unlike all other watch parties, which are obviously behind copyrights and all that, Nosferatu 1922 is not only in the public domain, but the version. So I was able to stream the actual movie, so you just hear the silent film, so you just hear my commentary, but you see the actual movie playing in the background. Not only did I do a watch party of that, but I did the Midnight's Edge version of it, where the color grading is corrected to make scenes that are supposed to be at night look like they are. So in addition to that, I've been doing watch parties every Friday of Dexter Original Sin. I'm really liking it so far. So feel free to catch, episodes 1 through 6, if I'm not mistaken. Now, what do I have as far as coming attractions? That was a little long. So, what I have now, let's see. Tomorrow, I am going... Oh, God. I'm sorry to say that I'm going to watch The Wolfman. Believe me, it's only for my channel. I have the lowest of expectations for this film. I'm going to be watching The Wolfman. I'm going to do a precaution and an aftershock. So it'll be my preview of the video, expectations, and whatever. As you can imagine from this video, I have less than 0 expectation for this film. And in addition to that, I'll do an aftershock video. So the movie is supposed to start at 7:30, so I guess I'll do my preview at around 6:30 tomorrow. Friday, I'm going to do my Dexter Original Sin episode 7 watch party. So because we have, let's see, MLK Day Monday off, I'm going to try to catch up on my live streams for my winter stream warning. So like I said, I'm going to do one more Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver playthrough to close out that game. And then I'm going to kickstart month number 2 with my playthrough of John Carpenter's The Thing Remastered. So you guys will get 2 remastered games, which we were treated to in December. So those are incorporated into my winter stream warning. So you'll be able to enjoy that. And I'm trying to think. Down the road, I'm going to do watch parties for 2 horror films that came out in summer to autumn of 2024. One is called The Inheritance, which caught my eye. I'm willing to give it a shot. It looks supernatural, so I'm curious about it. And the other one will be Smile 2, which, yeah, whatever. I'll just watch it for the channel. Anyway, that wraps up this video. So, why is the Mind's Eye Inquisition the place for heated debate? Because I ask the burning questions that inquiring minds want to know.
If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to your fears.